Good evening, and on a light note and a lighter note, they say. Well, I had a call from somebody, and he say he's watching Talking Technical. Can you believe that? He said to me that he's born in Pretoria, raised in Pretoria, went to school in Pretoria, and he just want to tell me that I must analyze the chart for him on Talking Technical this week because he's in the process of buying Twitter. Now that is Mr. Musk. Well, I doubt if he even know my name, but well, definitely that was the big news of the last couple of days. And I know a lot of viewers would like to know, can they just buy and just jump into the share and just buy it? Because I know the bid is around 56. I know it's not finalized, and but apparently Mr. Musk is the new owner in a few days of this massive company. Now, first of all, remember this company was close to $80 a while back, and this is now a weekly chart because I'm sure people would like to buy it for the long term. I'm always nervous on shares to buy it for a long term, especially technology shares, because oh well, their flavor can quickly go away. But I mean, if you look at Twitter, let's just have a look here on this weekly chart. What do I see? I see a beautiful descending channel, and I mean, look at that, we're right at the top of that channel. Now, first of all, I think the news was already in the market a few weeks, because if you look at it here, that close to this 30, remember the Nasdaq had that ugly sell-off, and the Nasdaq went all the way down to about $30, and that was almost quite a surprise to everybody. But Nasdaq pushed right down to $30, and then it bounced off this support line. Well, that's bullish, of course. And then a lot of viewers will now say to me, but Frans, if this, you can almost say deal is successful, maybe we can see Twitter back at 75, 80. And you're right. If you look at this descending channel, and if I use that, and I take it all the way to the top, there you are, then it can easily go back to that previous high close of 73. So, yes, I mean, Mr. Musk is in the bid. I just want to have a look at the candles, because maybe the candles is just going to tell us something different. I just want to see. Well, there you are. I just want to show you. Let's just have a look at the emotion of these candles. And look at this breakaway gap. That was a gap of already about 2 weeks ago. So I think the news was already in then, and everybody started to buy. But what I'm a little bit worried about is this hammer candle. That tells me that there's maybe some sellers. But I mean, the old story is if this resistance line above 51 turns into support, it can actually go a little bit higher. And where's my stop loss? My stop loss will be this gap, and I will say wait for 40.96. Below 40.96, I think we can maybe move back into this channel to the downside. Let's look at Leatt. Leatt apparently is a company owned by South Africans. I don't know the company, and you know, this is the beauty about technical analysis. Even if you look at the chart and you don't know anything about the chart, the chart will tell you more about the company that maybe the fundamentals will tell you. And what do I see? And the guy that asked about it is Pierre. Now, Pierre is a very, very good investor. He knows when to buy and sell. And I know that he's a long-term investor. Now, Pierre, I know you like the company, or you asked about it. Let's just have a look here. What I don't like about the company is the following. I mean, or not the company, the chart. Is this head and shoulder formation. I just want to draw that in correctly. There you are. Look at the left shoulder here. And there's the beautiful head already developed. And now we're working on the right shoulder. And we're right on this neckline. This neckline sits at 2162. Now I know that Pierre is a long-term investor. So he will buy the stock and he will just accumulate it. And then over years he will make money, and then eventually he will sell. If I look at this chart, Pierre, maybe you can get a better entry if you haven't got the share already. There's the top of the head all the way down to the neckline. And if you do extend that to the downside, where can it take you to? Maybe take the share back to this support. And look at these a few candles there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 candles, all consolidating around this $13 level. Now, for me, that's always quite important. If I see a few candles or some price action around the level, then I know that other investors believe that is either a good support or a good solid resistance. Now, let's just have a look at this neckline. Look at the amount of candles around this line. And that's the important thing about a neckline of a head and shoulder. Now, of course, we all know that the head and shoulder formation is unfortunately a negative formation. And that usually tells you if this neckline breaks and it turns into a resistance, we can actually see a sell-off. And where will you be happy? I mean, I will only be happy above $31.20. Then I know that this right shoulder will be wiped off the table and the share can actually go a little bit higher. Well, Fani is asking about Renergen. Now, Fani, I mean, this share had a beautiful rally. I mean, from 15 Rand in August last year, all the way up to 44 Rand. I mean, this share was just almost, you can say, bombarded with good news, and the company just printed money, and everybody was just happy to invest. What I see now at the moment, and this is what worries me a little bit, Fani, I know you want to maybe buy the share, but look what I see here. I see a rising wedge. Now, a rising wedge, unfortunately, in my book, is always a negative formation, although while we're inside this wedge, it is bullish. The moment we move below this support line, this rising wedge will come into play, and it can maybe take the share quite a way down. Now, I will say there's my support. I just want to draw that line in. There was a previous support. And remember, look what happened. It turned into a resistance. It worked hard, very, very hard to turn that into a support there. It bounced above it. And then we saw this rally. But look at these candles. And this is the big thing for me. That candle there right at the top, that is a shooting star. Now, there was a doji. There was a little gap. I hope you can see that gap there, Fani. That gap was below, between 41.60 and 40.61. What happened? This shooting star was followed up by a bearish engulfing candle. Let's just zoom it out a little bit. This bearish engulfing candle, that gives you a beautiful evening star formation because you get a tiny candle. Sometimes you get a bullish engulfing candle. Then you've got the shooting star. Then you've got the bearish engulfing. Look at that shadow. That shadow tells you that some of the investors try to support the share around this 41 Rand level. They lost the battle, and the battle is going all the way to the downside. And below 38.23, unfortunately, this wedge will break to the downside, and I believe it can easily go back all the way. That's, I just want to show you, there you are, that support, and that support sits at, let's give you the exact level, sits at 31 Rand and 30 cents. Rashid is asking about Renova Environmental. Now, I know everybody is into ESG nowadays, and by the way, for those that don't know the term ESG, it stands for environment, it stands for strategy, and it stands for governance. So that just tells you the company must show their hand, and they must be, almost you can say, they must be clear of what they're planning to do. Now, if I look at this share, look at the momentum all the way to the downside. I mean, it just shows you that there's a lot of negativity. Yes, some viewers will say, but Frans, let's just have a look at this formation here. There's maybe a double bottom. Now, I'm quite right. I will agree with you. Remember, this is a weekly chart. This double bottom, yes, can maybe show us that there's a turnaround, but where will I be happy? I will only be happy above this line. Now, Rashid, I will not rush in to buy this share. I will wait for this double bottom to give me an idea that the low is around 34 cents, American cents, and I will only get excited if the company starts to consolidate by above 65. Now, above 65 cents, then I know that the momentum can turn to the upside. This is a double bottom, and then we can maybe see all the way a beautiful rally to 92 cents. So yes, you can buy above that level, make use of a stop loss of, and there's the stop loss 35.78 to protect some capital, and I hope that it can play out and it take it up all the way to the top. Well, Fred is asking about Harmony Gold, and if I look at this email, Fred is saying to me, but Frans, I want to buy it for the long term. Now, for me, always a gold share to buy for the long term is maybe not a good idea. Yes, to buy new gold maybe for a long term, or a Kruger Rand or something like that, but the gold share, they are just too cyclical. Look what happened in the past. It goes from 49 Rand all the way up to 118, then it falls back to 42 Rand. But what do I see here is that I see still an inverse head and shoulder. Let's just show you there. There you are. But we're still busy with the right shoulder here. There's the left shoulder, Fred. There's the head. And we're busy on the right shoulder. So I will say, at the moment, you must sit on your hands. And I will only get excited if 78 Rand 30 can turn into a support. Because then I do know that this inverse head and shoulder would like to move up. And then it can maybe break above that. And yes, my target is close to 100 Rand. For me, when I see a chart like this, and there's no confirmation just to tell me that I can just go and buy above that line, then I just sit on my hands. And by the way, let's just have a look here. We are not far from reaching this support line. So Fred, maybe it's time to sit on your hands, because below 61.36, it can actually get ugly. Then this formation can take it down to 41.67. Well, here you are. Well, thank you for visiting the show. Send us an email at frans@fransklerk.com for more info. And of course, visit our website, www.fransklerk.com.